Alright, I feel like I have given this game long enough. I have been covering Fractured for a long time now, not in a dedicated sense, no, but I have been covering it periodically through my bi-weekly MMORPG news videos. However, after first discussing it all the way back in August 2017, all the way back in August 2017? Has it really been that? I gotta go ahead here and verify this real quickly. Wow, it has actually been 3 years since I first talked about this game. How long has this MMO been in development for? Looking at the Kickstarter here, it looks as though everything was supposed to be delivered sometime during December 2018. Wow. Yikes, and it is already, what, like halfway through 2020 right now? Okay, so granted, this game has definitely seen some delay, but you know what? That happens a lot, actually, especially when it's concerning indie-developed MMOs. I had just honestly forgotten that it had been in development for so long. That is not what I wanted to talk about, though. I just, come on, STIX, focus. Right, so I was on their website earlier, and I noticed that the team behind the game were holding an open stress test. The test will take place on May 26th for those of you that back the game, and May 28th for everyone else. The test period is going to last until June 1st, 2020. MMORSSTIX and I are going to be streaming the stress test over on Twitch, which, let's be honest here, if you're not following us on, you should be, considering we are streaming 3 to 4 days per week and streaming a plethora of different MMORPGs over there. And you know what? We would actually really enjoy having you come on over and visit. Don't be that friend that never comes over. Don't be that friend that never stops by. We're friendly. We don't bite, you know, like too hard, I guess. But since this is my first large dedicated video on Fractured, let's talk about exactly what kind of game this is. That way you guys can decide whether or not it's worth your time. So, what is Fractured? According to their website, Fractured is an upcoming MMORPG that they're titling the Dynamic MMO. This is due to the game being heavily influenced by the actions of the player. Every facet of the game, the combat, the environment, the economic system, civilizations, and character progress are all supposed to be static, unique, defined by each and every individual. But we have heard this time and time again, especially concerning indie MMOs, so I remain skeptical. Fractured will be a PvPvE MMO that features 3 different worlds. Orboreus will be a PvE world, with Tartaros being a PvP-oriented world, and Syndesia being a culmination of the two. I'm not sure exactly how this will work, whether or not these worlds will function like servers, but supposedly you're going to be capable of moving between planets, but there will be limitations in place. Fractured is an isometric MMO. You know Path of Exile or Diablo? Yeah, like that. Unlike the aforementioned games though, this is being done on a much tighter budget with a much smaller dev team. But that just means they will have a much clearer, much more defined focus on what they actually want. I guess if you were to compare this to anything, you could go ahead and call this the Western Lost Ark or Western Project TL, as that is essentially what this game is going to attempt to compete with. Now, before we go any further, no, Fractured is not going to be a free-to-play MMO. Honestly, I do struggle to see what their plan is here. There doesn't seem to be all that much interest in Fractured right now, with them raising $120,000 years ago in crowdfunding from only 1,000 backers. During their last stress test, there were only 15,000 players online, which is substantially lower than MapleStory 2's over 42,000 and only slightly higher than Soulworker's 11,000 player peak in concurrent players. And those were both free games. This is going to be buy to play, which means you're going to be required to actually fork out a hefty sum to play it. I'm not saying that Fractured won't be worth the one-time fee, far from it. I think that the game actually looks like it has a lot of potential. My concern is that realistically, with such little interest, it might end up turning out to be more like Project Gorgon, which is a fantastic game, but nobody wants to play it because it requires a purchase. I don't know, like to me, I feel like this would have been a much better choice to launch this as a free-to-play MMO, because that would definitely appeal to a much larger audience. Kind of like how Albion Online started off as a buy-to-play MMO that averaged, I think it was about 200 players online concurrently, but now as a free-to-play sandbox MMO, it averages over 10,000 players online literally at any given moment. What makes Fractured unique though? According to the website, the game is going to feature a large open world that mixes in fully interactable environments and action combat to create a highly competitive, cooperative gameplay experience. Not only will the game provide players a haven with which to craft, trade, and adventure, but you'll also be able to establish your very own settlement with your guild and grow it into a competitive empire. While the stress test is going to take place during the end of May, June will feature a brand new alpha for backers to participate in. It'll introduce a plethora of features that weren't available during previous testing phases, and will bring the game ever closer to its inevitable release. I'm gonna be honest with you guys here, I am not really all that fond of isometric MMOs. Like, I had fun back in the day when I played Devilian. I had some fun when I messed around in Lost Ark a little bit. Mu Legend was admittedly very lackluster. You could say that my experience with the genre has definitely been lacking, but that doesn't mean that I'm not excited to both stream and play Fractured. It's a brand new upcoming MMO that I will be able to try out and experience not only with MMORSSSTIX, but also all of you. And while I may disagree with a few different aspects of the game, I am still more than willing to give this game a try. I mean, when MMORSSSTIX first tried out World of Warcraft, she could not get over how bad the game looked. Granted, you know, she came from games like Rift and Terra and Star Wars The Old Republic, so, you know, that kind of makes sense. But the more she played WoW, the more she slowly began to realize and understand and grasp the charm that the game had. Fast forward 2 years later, and we are still actively subscribed to the game and still periodically playing it. The very same might apply to Fractured, and I am more than happy giving this game the benefit of the doubt. The devs behind the game might be taking their time releasing the title, but I would prefer that they get everything right the first time, avoiding any potential failures that would result in the game shutting down before even having a chance of shining. But this is my opinion, my impressions of the upcoming MMO. What do you guys think though? Let me know down in the comments below and let's talk about it. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you all next time.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make